So there's a Comanche project. I ended up with a little bit more to do than I thought I was going to have to, but I'm kind of one of those that wants stuff to work right, and I know it's going to be gambler first, but I'm going to keep it after that, so I wanted to make sure that if I'm in there, I'm going to do it all right. So I had a cooling system leak. Come to find out it was just a gasket for the water pump, but I had already ordered a new water pump gasket. The radiator was leaking, so it was a closed system rig. There's the turtle. So I ordered the open cooling system radiator and did an open cooling system conversion on it. I got all that stuff done. I just need to plumb in my overflow. I'm going to keep the turtle and use the turtle as my overflow. I got a way of doing that. I'll show you when I'm all done. I went full JDM. Yeah. On the intake, so I'm a cool kid like everybody else is on the trail. It just freed up some room. I can stuff a cone filter on there, forget about it. I got another factory tube in a box if I want to put it all back factory. We'll see how this goes for now. I had wiring issues, so the turn signals weren't working, the parking lights weren't working. I did have brake lights, I did have headlights, but I didn't have any other accessories. I had no interior lights, no gauge lights. The gauges themselves came on and the thing ran and drove, but I really didn't have anything else. So I started in here by pulling the plastics out and looking up underneath there. The steering column was changed out at some point, so I wanted to start there and make sure that all the steering column stuff was done. The windshield wipers were wired to a toggle switch, and then that was all removed, so none of the windshield wipers were working, none of that stuff was working. The radio was funny, and then I looked up underneath the fuse box and I had jumper wires stuffed in the fuse box all over the place. So I took all the butt connectors out, pulled all the junk wiring out, and then connected everything back to its factory location so I could start testing. And long story short, my light switch over here is bad. I ordered a new one of those. My turn signal switch inside the steering column was bad, so it wasn't sending turn signals out. The fuse box had broken pins inside of it, and pins that were way flared apart. The alligator clips were way flared open, so I had to reflare those and replace some fuses. I split the wiring harness to check the back of the fuse box to make sure nothing was popped off. That all looked good. The engine compartment looked good. Nothing really was spliced into anywhere or anything like that, so I got that all taken care of. The blower motor wasn't working at all. None of the fan controls were working, so I pulled that apart and found that the relay, the switch on the back, or the relay on the back of the switch for the fan controls was shorted, melted, completely toast. So I got another one of those, plugged it in, rewired it down here at the fuse box, and now it's working the way it's supposed to work, so I can get that all hooked back up. My switched link off the radio wasn't working, so he had it wired to something, I don't even know what, but now I got that working again, so I can rewire the stereo to its factory power and ground, and that'll work right. I was waiting for a thermostat housing to come in for the motor to finish the cooling system. I broke the other one. The thermostat fell down in there sideways, and then I tightened it too tight because it was leaking, and I broke it. So I got a new one of those. It's here. It's in the box right there. I'm going to put that on, finish the cooling system up. I have a new battery. I just need to do new terminals and new wiring for the charging system, and that'll be ready to go. The windshield wipers are working now. I don't have intermittent, but I think that's because I don't have an intermittent motor. So I'll have to just look into that. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I do have another intermittent controller, so if that controller is bad, I can swap that out. Found some rust holes in the floor. I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to POR patch those. There's a patch kit out there I've been waiting to try to use, and so I think I'm going to try to use that on this and see how it goes. The seat's out. It's got a Grand Wagoneer girl sitting on it, but the seat's in really good condition, so I'm going to find a seat cover to try and salvage and save it for a while in case I ever do anything nice to this thing. I have the correct steering wheel in there now. It had a like a 89 and up steering wheel, so this is the correct steering wheel for it. I repainted the red to a gunmetal, so now it matches the interior, and it was the only thing that was red inside my blue and silver Comanche, so I had to get rid of the red. My turn signals are working now. I took the steering column completely apart and replaced this jazz inside of it. That wasn't sending a signal, so I got that replaced. Come to find out when I pulled the gauges, because on the back, this is a different gauge panel that I had. on the back of the gauge cluster that came out of this Comanche, like this right here. It was really corroded, and so when you put the lights in there, it wasn't making a connection. So I had power all the way to these. I tested the strips on the panel, because a lot of times when people take these in and out, it'll break right here, and then you won't send power from the plug. It won't pass the break and go into the actual flat circuit board. So I tested all the way next to the light, power and ground, and I got a signal. So I knew that the board was good. So then I started pulling all the lights, and I cleaned them all up. I took the little prongs and pulled the little prongs out on the light and put them all back in, and they seem to be working now. So I got dash lights, I got turn signals, I got hazards, I got heater, radio, all that good fun jazz. So that's where we're at with that. I can get rid of a lot of this stuff. There's an old dead steering column I gutted, and some more parts if I need them. My old seat from the red Comanche. I was thinking about putting it in there. Maybe destroy it instead of this nice one. And then, yeah, that's about it with this thing. As soon as the parts come in today or tomorrow, I'll try to get back on it. But I need to get the Grand Cherokee out of the way, back to the client, so I can spray primer on the next rig coming in. It's going to be ready by the end of the week. So I got to keep pumping and pumping on the client rigs, and then this will be evenings, weekends, and maybe call helper. So anyway, thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. Camera work sucks on this one. That's why it's probably just going to be a shot video. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys being here. You guys keep me busy, and like I said, I like doing good work for you guys. So thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.